Robert Chen spent 30 years keeping the subway system running until a catastrophic electrical failure nearly killed him and ended his career. Now he rides Line 7 every Tuesday, avoiding eye contact, trying to forget. When a power surge derails the train 150 feet underground, trapping 200 passengers in darkness, the emergency doors are dead. The only override is 200 feet down a flooded tunnel where he almost died. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from. And if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. Robert's coffee maker gurgled at 6:45, same as every Tuesday morning. He poured the dark roast into his thermos, hands steady through muscle memory alone. The apartment was quiet, too quiet. 3 years of living alone had never gotten easier. He opened the drawer by the door to grab his keys. His old transit worker ID badge sat there, face down where he'd thrown it the day he quit. Robert Chen, Senior Electrical Systems Technician, Metro Transit Authority. He slammed the drawer shut. The pills sat on the counter in their orange bottles. Sertraline for the depression, Prazosin for the nightmares. He swallowed them dry, chased them with coffee that burned to going down. His therapist said the medication was working. Robert didn't feel like anything was working. His phone buzzed with a news alert. Metro Transit Authority announces $47 million modernization of Line 7 electrical systems. Robert read it twice. $47 million to fix what should have been fixed 5 years ago. What should have been fixed before Marcus went down that tunnel. He deleted the notification. The garage was cold. Robert walked past his toolbox without looking at it. Klein wire strippers, fluke multimeter, voltage detector he'd calibrated himself, all gathering dust. He'd been the best electrical tech in the system, could diagnose a failing transformer by the sound it made, spot a loose connection from the flicker pattern of overhead lights. 30 years of expertise boxed up and forgotten. His sister called as he locked the front door. "Just checking in," Maya said. She always called Tuesday mornings before his therapy appointments. "I'm fine," Robert said. "You taking your meds?" "Yes. And you're still seeing Dr. Patterson?" "Every Tuesday, same time, same questions." He unlocked his car, an old Civic with a rusted bumper. Maya was quiet for a moment. "Did you see the news about Line 7? Robert's jaw tightened. "Yeah. That's good, right? They're finally fixing things. 3 years too late." His voice came out sharper than intended. "Robert, I have to go. I'll call you later." He hung up before she could respond. Guilt twisted in his stomach, but he pushed it down. Maya meant well. Everyone meant well. That didn't make it easier. The drive into the city took 40 minutes. Robert kept the radio off. Silence was better than the constant chatter, the endless noise that made his thoughts race. He parked in the garage on 5th Street, same spot he always used. Routine kept him grounded. Routine kept the panic at bay. Dr. Patterson's office was 3 blocks away. Robert could have driven closer, but he needed the walk, needed to clear his head before an hour of talking about feelings he'd rather bury. The subway entrance loomed ahead, green and white tile, worn stairs descending into darkness. Line 7. He took it every week. Exposure therapy, Dr. Patterson called it. Facing his fear. Robert called it torture, but he did it anyway because what else was he supposed to do? Hide in his apartment forever? He swiped his transit card and headed down into the station. The platform was packed with morning commuters, bodies pressed together, everyone staring at phones, nobody making eye contact. Robert positioned himself near the far end where the crowd thinned. Old habit. Always know your exits. The overhead lights flickered. Once, twice, 3 times in rapid succession. Robert's head snapped up. That wasn't normal. That was a voltage fluctuation in the primary feed. He'd seen it 1,000 times. The pattern meant unstable current, probably a failing transformer somewhere in the grid. His hand moved automatically to his belt where his voltage detector used to hang. Nothing there. Not his problem anymore. He pulled out his phone, tried to focus on email. The lights flickered again, longer this time. A woman next to him looked up briefly, then back at her screen. Nobody else noticed. Why would they? They didn't know what that flicker meant. Robert did. He glanced down the platform toward the station office. A transit worker stood there, young guy, maybe 25, talking into his radio. His face looked worried. Robert caught fragments of the conversation over the crowd noise. Voltage readings are all over the place. Supervisor says keep running trains. I don't know, man, this doesn't feel right. Robert stepped closer, almost against his will. His training was screaming at him. Voltage fluctuations meant failing equipment. Failing equipment meant potential cascade failure. Cascade failure in the electrical system could knock out everything from lights to door controls to emergency systems. They should shut down the line, run diagnostics, find the problem. The young worker ended his call, shook his head, looked frustrated but resigned. Robert opened his mouth to say something, stopped. What was he going to do? March over there and explain electrical theory to some kid who'd ignore him anyway. He wasn't a transit employee anymore. He had no authority, no credentials, no reason anyone would listen. The rumble of an approaching train vibrated through the platform. Headlights appeared in the tunnel, growing brighter. Line 7 to downtown. Robert's train. The overhead lights flickered again as the train pulled in. This time the flicker lasted 3 full seconds. Several people looked up now, murmuring. The lights stabilized. The train doors opened. The crowd surged forward. Robert held back, watching. The train's interior lights looked normal. Emergency signs glowed green above each door. Everything appeared fine, except the voltage fluctuations were getting worse. The intervals between flickers were getting shorter. A pregnant woman bumped into him, apologizing. She looked exhausted, one hand on her lower back. An elderly man with a cane shuffled past, nearly losing his balance when someone pushed by. A teenager with headphones on, music loud enough Robert could hear the bass, stepped into the train car. 200 people, maybe more, filing into those cars. Robert's jaw clenched. He could walk away, take the bus, go to his appointment, and pretend he hadn't seen anything. The doors started to close. He stepped forward and caught them, squeezed through into the middle car. Found a spot in the corner near the end door, back against the wall. Exit behind him. Another old habit. The doors sealed shut with a pneumatic hiss. The train lurched forward, picked up speed, entered the tunnel, and the platform lights disappeared behind them. Robert closed his eyes and tried to breathe normally. The train rattled through the tunnel, the familiar rhythm Robert had heard 10,000 times before. He opened his eyes. Fluorescent lights ran along the ceiling, harsh and white. Everyone around him was locked into their phones, earbuds in, faces blank. The pregnant woman from the platform stood 3 feet away, holding a pole with both hands. She looked about 7 months along, maybe 8. Dark circles under her eyes, wedding ring on her left hand. She caught him looking and smiled weakly. Robert nodded, looked away. The lights flickered. His stomach dropped. The flicker lasted 2 seconds. Nobody else reacted. The teenager with the headphones was nodding to his music. A businessman in a gray suit typed on his phone. An elderly woman sat in the priority seating, eyes closed, maybe sleeping. Robert counted silently. 15 seconds. 20. 30. The lights flickered again. 3 seconds this time. His pulse was hammering now. The pattern was accelerating. That meant the electrical fault was getting worse, not better. The system was destabilizing. He did the math automatically, calculations he'd performed hundreds of times during his career. At this rate of degradation, they had maybe 5 minutes before critical failure. The train needed to stop. Now. Pull into the next station, evacuate, shut down the line. But the train wasn't slowing. It was speeding up. Robert pushed through the crowd toward the front of the car, ignoring the annoyed looks. There was an emergency intercom panel mounted by the conductor's door. He reached it, pressed the call button. Nothing. No response. Either the conductor wasn't answering, or the intercom was already malfunctioning. "Excuse me, are you okay?" The pregnant woman had followed him. She looked concerned. "The electrical system is failing," Robert said. Kept his voice low, didn't want to start a panic. "We need to stop the train." She blinked. "What?" "I used to work for Metro Transit. The lights flickering. That's voltage fluctuation. It means..." The lights went completely dark. Emergency lighting kicked in immediately. dim red bulbs that cast everything in shadow. Someone screamed. The businessman looked up from his phone. The teenager pulled out his earbuds. The lights came back. Bright. Too bright. Robert knew what was coming next. "Everyone get down," he shouted. "Away from the poles! Away from metal!" The power surge hit like lightning. Every light in the car blazed white hot, then exploded. Glass rained down. Sparks showered from the ceiling fixtures. People screamed. The emergency brakes engaged with a shriek of metal on metal that Robert felt in his teeth. The train lurched violently. He grabbed the pregnant woman, pulled her down. Bodies flew forward, slamming into seats and poles. The elderly woman tumbled from her seat. The businessman crashed face first into a window. The train tilted. Robert felt it before he understood it. The car was coming off the rails. Metal screamed. The entire train shuddered, jerked sideways. Sparks exploded through the windows as they scraped the tunnel wall. The car was rolling, 20 degrees, 30 degrees. Then it stopped. Sudden. Final. The emergency brakes had locked, but the damage was done. Complete darkness. Not even emergency lights. Silence for 3 seconds. Then everyone started screaming at once. Robert pushed himself up from the floor. Pain shot through his shoulder where he'd slammed into something during the crash. Around him the screaming continued, mixed with crying, someone calling for help in the darkness. His phone. He fumbled for it in his pocket. The screen was cracked, but it still worked. He activated the flashlight. The beam cut through absolute darkness, revealing chaos. The train car tilted at 15 degrees. Seats had torn loose from their mounts. Broken glass covered everything. People sprawled across the floor, some moving, some terrifyingly still. "Is anyone hurt?" Robert's voice cut through the panic. "Anyone bleeding?" "My arm," a man shouted. "I think it's broken." "I can't find my daughter," a woman screamed. "Emma! Emma, where are you?" "Here," a small voice answered. "I'm here, Mom." Robert swept his light across the car. About 40 people in this section. Most were moving, conscious. The elderly woman was on the floor but sitting up, looking dazed. The businessman had blood running down his face from a gash on his forehead. The pregnant woman. Where was she? He found her crumpled against a seat, holding her stomach. "Are you okay?" Robert knelt beside her. "I think so." Her voice shook. "The baby's moving. That's good, right?" "That's good." Robert helped her sit up carefully. "What's your name?" "Lisa." "I'm Robert. Stay here, okay? Don't move unless you have to." More phone lights were coming on now. The teenager with the headphones was helping an older man stand. The businessman was using his tie as a makeshift bandage for his head. Robert stood, raised his voice. "Listen to me. Everyone stay calm. Is anyone trained in first aid?" "I am," a woman said, young, maybe 30, wearing scrubs. "I'm a nurse." "Good. Check everyone for serious injuries. Head wounds, broken bones, anyone unconscious." Robert moved toward the front of the car. "I need to check the other cars." He tried the door between cars. Locked. No power meant no electronic releases. He looked through the small window. The next car was dark, but he could see movement. Phone lights flickering. Someone pounded on the door from the other side. A man's face appeared in the window, mouth moving. Robert couldn't hear him through the thick glass. He tried the emergency release. Nothing. Completely dead. They were sealed in. Robert turned back to his car. "The doors won't open. We're trapped in here for now." Fresh screaming. Someone hyperventilating. The air was already starting to feel close, thick. "How long until they rescue us?" the businessman asked. Robert didn't answer. He was thinking about where they were in the tunnel. They'd been traveling for 3 minutes before the crash. That put them in the deep section between stations. 150 feet underground, maybe more. Metro Transit's emergency response protocol was 30 minutes for a standard breakdown. But this wasn't standard. The entire electrical system had failed. That meant no communications, no monitoring systems, no way for anyone on the surface to know exactly where they were. And there was something else. Something worse. Robert knelt, touched the floor. Wet. He shined his light down. Water. Just a thin film now. seeping under the doors. This section of tunnel was notorious for flooding. He'd worked on the drainage systems a dozen times. In heavy rain, water collected fast. It hadn't rained in days. But broken water mains, ruptured pipes, any number of things could have been damaged in the crash. "Everyone moved to the high end of the car," Robert said. "Away from the doors." "Why?" someone asked. "Just do it." People shuffled toward the elevated end of the car, helping the injured, mothers clutching children. Robert watched the water. It was rising, slowly but definitely rising. "Who are you?" The businessman with the head wound stepped closer. His makeshift bandage was soaked red. "You seem to know what you're doing." "I used to work for Metro Transit, electrical systems." Robert kept his eyes on the water, quarter inch now. "What's your name?" "David Reeves." "David, I need you to keep everyone calm. Can you do that?" "What aren't you telling us?" Robert met his eyes. "The tunnel's flooding. We need to get these doors open or we're in serious trouble." David's face went pale. "How long do we have?" "Depends on the water source. Could be 20 minutes. Could be 2 hours." Robert moved back to the door, examined the emergency release mechanism. "Help me with this." They pulled the red emergency handle together. Nothing. The mechanical backup was designed to work without power, but the crash had jammed something. Robert could feel resistance, metal bent or wedged. "Is there another way out?" David asked. Robert looked up at the ceiling. Emergency roof hatches. He'd installed dozens of them over the years. "There." He pointed his light at a rectangular panel. "But it leads to the tunnel. We'd have to climb onto the roof and walk out." "How far to the next station?" "Half a mile, maybe more." Robert did the math. Tilted train, narrow tunnel, pitch darkness, 200 people including children and elderly. We'd lose people. Someone would fall onto the rails, get lost in the dark, panic. "So we wait for rescue. We wait." Robert said it with more confidence than he felt. The nurse in scrubs appeared beside them. Blood stained her hands. "I've got 3 people with possible concussions, 1 definite broken arm, multiple lacerations, and Lisa, the pregnant woman. She's having contractions. Might be stress, might be labor starting. I can't tell without proper equipment." Robert closed his eyes, of course. "Keep her comfortable. Monitor her." "With what? I don't even have a stethoscope." "Do your best." The nurse walked away, muttering something. Robert didn't blame her. The teenager with the headphones approached. Up close, he looked about 16, maybe 17. Tall, athletic build. "My name's Carlos. I heard you talking about the doors. I can help." "You strong. I'm on the wrestling team." "Good." Robert examined the door mechanism again. "We need to pry this panel off. Get to the manual release inside. You got anything we can use as a lever?" Carlos pulled out a skateboard from his backpack. Metal trucks, solid axles. "Will this work?" Robert almost smiled. "Yeah, that'll work." They wedged the skateboard truck into the gap around the panel and pulled. Metal groaned. The panel bent but didn't give. "Again," Robert said. They pulled harder. Carlos grunted with effort. The panel tore free with a screech, exposing the door mechanism beneath. Robert shined his light inside. His stomach sank. The mechanical release was completely destroyed. Crushed by the impact, gears stripped, the whole assembly twisted into useless metal. Even if he had tools, even if he had hours, he couldn't fix this. "Can you fix it?" Carlos asked. Robert stared at the ruined mechanism. He knew every door system in the fleet, knew them inside and out. And he knew there was only one other way to open these doors. The manual override, deep in the maintenance tunnel beneath them. Robert stepped back from the ruined door mechanism. His hands were shaking. He shoved them in his pocket so Carlos wouldn't see. "Can you fix it or not?" Carlos asked again. "No." The word hung in the darkness. Around them, people had gone quiet. Everyone was listening now. David pushed forward. "What do you mean, no? There has to be another way." "There is." Robert's throat felt tight. "Manual override system. It's in the maintenance tunnel below us. So we use that." "It's not that simple." Robert moved to the center of the car, raised his voice. Everyone listen. The door mechanisms are destroyed. There's a backup system, but someone has to access it manually. It's in the maintenance access tunnel. How do we get there? A woman asked. Robert knelt, knocked on the floor. Hollow sound. Maintenance hatch, right here, leads down to the service tunnel that runs beneath the tracks. Okay, so we go down there, flip a switch, doors open. Right. This from a man in a business suit. It's not a switch. Robert stood. It's a mechanical system. Someone has to physically release the pressure valves and manually engage the door actuators. Takes about 5 minutes if you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing, David said. Robert didn't answer. He was thinking about the maintenance tunnel, thinking about 3 years ago. Marcus's face, the sound of his screams. How far down? The nurse asked. Access shaft is about 20 feet. Then you're in the service tunnel. The override station is about 200 feet down the tunnel from here. 200 feet? Carlos looked confused. That's nothing, I'll go. No. Robert's voice was sharp. The tunnel floods. It's probably already waist deep down there. Maybe deeper. And it's completely dark. No lights, no markers. You'd get lost. Turned around. You wouldn't make it. But you would, David said quietly. Robert met his eyes. David understood. Robert had said too much, revealed too much about his knowledge of the tunnels. I worked those tunnels for 30 years, Robert said. I know the layout. I know where the override is. I know how to operate it. Then what's the problem? Carlos asked. The problem? Robert closed his eyes. The problem was Marcus in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. The problem was 3 years of nightmares. The problem was the absolute certainty that going back down there would break something in him that was barely holding together. The problem, Robert said slowly, is that 3 years ago I sent my partner down into those tunnels during an electrical failure. The power came back on while he was in the water. 5,000 volts through his body. I pulled him out, but the damage was done. He's paralyzed from the waist down. Silence, complete silence. Lisa, the pregnant woman, spoke from where she sat against the wall. But you pulled him out. Not fast enough. You saved his life. I ended his career. I ended his life as he knew it. And now you won't go back, David said. Not an accusation, just a statement of fact. Robert looked at the water on the floor. It was ankle deep now, rising steadily. He could smell it, chemical and metallic. Somewhere a pipe was broken or a main had ruptured, and water was pouring into this tunnel. How long do we have? The nurse asked. The car will flood completely in about 40 minutes, Robert said. Maybe less. This story takes time to craft. If you're enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. 40 minutes, David repeated. He looked around the car, at the faces lit by phone screens. So what do we do? Robert didn't answer immediately. He was doing calculations. 200 feet through flooded tunnel. 5 minutes to operate the override. Another 200 feet back. In perfect conditions with working lights, he could do it in 15 minutes. But conditions weren't perfect. The tunnel would be pitch black. The water would slow him down, and his body wasn't what it used to be. We break the windows, Carlos said. Let the water in faster. It equalizes the pressure. We can force the doors open. That would work if we were near the surface, Robert said. But we're 150 feet down. The water pressure outside is immense. Break the windows and the water comes in like a fire hose. We'd all drown in about 2 minutes. Then we climb out through the roof, a man in a business suit said. Walk along the tunnel to the next station. In complete darkness, with children and elderly. Someone will fall. Someone will panic and run the wrong direction. We'd lose half the people before we made it 100 yards. So you're saying we just sit here and drown? The man's voice was rising. I'm saying, Robert kept his voice level, that the manual override is the only option that saves everyone. Then go do it, the man shouted. Stop making excuses and go. Robert felt something snap inside him. You want to know what happens down there? The water's electrified. Could be from damaged power lines. Could be from the train systems. You touch the wrong surface and 5,000 volts go through your body. Your muscles seize. You can't let go. You can't breathe. You just burn from the inside. The man stepped back. That's what happened to my partner, Robert continued. Marcus was 26 years old. He had a girlfriend. They were talking about getting married. Now he's in a wheelchair, can't control his bladder, needs help getting dressed. And I'm the one who sent him down there. Silence. Even the children had stopped crying. An elderly woman spoke up. Mrs. Chen, the one with the fractured wrist. How old are you? Robert blinked. 58. I'm 73. I've got grandchildren waiting for me. My daughter's getting married next month. She struggled to her feet. You made a mistake 3 years ago. We all make mistakes. But right now you're the only person here who can save us. So the question isn't whether you're afraid. The question is whether you're going to let your fear kill 200 people. Robert stared at her. She was right. There's another problem, Robert said. Even if I make it to the override, even if I'm not electrocuted, I still have to swim back. And if I don't make it back, you need to know what to do. What do you mean? David asked. The override will open all the doors in the train. All of them, all at once. You'll have maybe 3 minutes before the rising water shorts out the mechanism and they lock again. 3 minutes to get 200 people out of 6 cars and up onto the platform area ahead. Platform area, the nurse asked. There's an emergency walkway about 50 yards ahead, elevated above the tracks. If the doors open, everyone needs to move there immediately. It's high enough the water won't reach it for hours. David nodded. Okay, we can do that. You've got 3 minutes, Robert repeated. After that, the doors lock and you're trapped again. This time for good. Robert knelt by the maintenance hatch. He'd walked past these hatches 10,000 times during his career. Now he was about to descend into the nightmare he'd spent 3 years trying to forget. Carlos helped him pry open the hatch cover. The opening was maybe 2 feet square. Robert shined his light down. Black water. He couldn't see the bottom. How deep is the water? Carlos asked. Can't tell. Robert stripped off his jacket, handed Carlos his phone. I need waterproof cases. Anyone got them? 3 people came forward. Robert took them, sealed his phone in one. What else do you need? David asked. Nothing. Robert sat on the edge of the hatch. Remember, when the doors open, you move fast. Don't stop for anything. Just get everyone to that platform. We'll be ready, David said. Lisa had made her way over. She was pale, breathing through her teeth. Another contraction. How will we know if you made it? The doors will open. That's how you'll know. Mrs. Chen touched his arm. What's your partner's name? Marcus Webb. When you see him again, tell him an old woman said thank you. Robert felt his throat tighten. He nodded. The nurse appeared with duct tape. Tape the phone to your wrist. Keep your hands free. Smart. Robert wrapped the phone in tape, securing it to his left forearm. Carlos pulled off his watch. It's got a timer. 30 minutes. Robert took the watch, strapped it on, set the timer. The water had reached mid-calf now. People were standing on seats. Time was up. One more thing, Robert said. If I'm not back in 30 minutes, if the doors haven't opened, you break the roof hatch. Get everyone up top and start walking. Don't wait for me. Just go. Robert, David started. Promise me. David nodded. I promise. Robert turned to the hatch, took a deep breath. Then he lowered himself into the opening. His feet touched water. Cold. Shockingly cold. The water rose past his knees, his waist, his chest. He looked up one last time. Faces peered down at him. Then he ducked under the water and swam into the service tunnel. Total darkness swallowed him. Robert surfaced in the service tunnel, gasping. The water was chest deep, freezing, moving with a current. His taped phone cast a weak circle of light, maybe 10 feet ahead. The tunnel was narrow, 4 feet wide. Concrete walls slick with grime. Pipes ran along the ceiling, some gushing water from cracks. He oriented himself. The override station was 200 feet south. He checked the watch. 28 minutes left. Robert started moving. Each step was a fight against the current. 50 feet in, he hit the first obstacle. A collapsed ceiling beam blocked most of the tunnel. Water churned through the gap beneath it. Robert would have to dive under. He took 3 deep breaths. Then he ducked under. The current grabbed him. He kicked hard, arms pulling. His jacket snagged. He yanked, felt it tear, kept moving. His head broke the surface. He sucked in air, coughing. The tunnel curved left. His phone light caught graffiti. MW plus AR. Marcus Webb and his girlfriend. Robert pushed past it. 100 feet. Halfway. The water was deeper now, up to his shoulders. The watch beeped. 15 minutes gone. Something floated past. A rat drowned. Then another. Robert's foot caught on something. He went under, swallowed water, came up choking. His phone light flickered. He tapped it. The light steadied. Ahead, the tunnel split. Robert closed his eyes, tried to remember. Left. The override was left. He took the left tunnel. 30 feet in, he realized his mistake. Wrong choice. Robert turned around, swam back. The watch showed 12 minutes remaining. He took the right tunnel. This one felt familiar. The water surged suddenly. He tumbled, lost orientation. His lungs screamed. He kicked, found the surface. When he opened his eyes, his phone light was gone. The tape had torn. Robert was in complete darkness, with 100 feet still to go. Robert froze. His breath echoed off the walls. He had to make a choice. Turn back or continue blind. He thought about the tunnel layout. 30 years of walking these passages. The override station had a junction box mounted on the left wall exactly 10 feet before the control panel. Robert started moving forward, left hand trailing along the wall. He counted his steps. 20 steps. 30. His hand hit something metal. A pipe junction. Keep going. The water was neck deep now. 40 steps. 50. His shoulder slammed into a support beam. Pain exploded through his arm. He kept moving. The watch beeped twice. 10 minutes left. 60 steps. His hand found another metal object. Square. Junction box. This was it. Robert moved 10 feet forward. There. The override panel. He could feel the raised lettering. Emergency door release station 7. He'd made it. His hands found the panel's locking mechanism. He punched in the code by feel. 2739. The panel clicked open. Inside were 3 mechanical levers. Left lever released the hydraulic pressure. Middle lever disengaged the safety locks. Right lever activated the door actuators. Robert's hands were shaking. He forced them steady. Left lever first. He pulled it down, felt the click as pressure released. Middle lever. This one was stiffer. He pulled harder. It moved halfway, then stuck. Robert pulled harder. The lever wouldn't budge. 9 minutes left. Robert felt around the stuck lever in the darkness. His fingers found the problem. Corrosion had built up around the pivot point. 3 years of moisture and neglect had seized the mechanism. He needed leverage, something to pry with. His belt. Robert unbuckled it with numb fingers, wrapped it around the lever, and pulled. The leather creaked. The lever didn't move. He repositioned, braced his feet against the wall, and pulled with his entire body weight. His shoulders screamed. The water was at his chin now. He had to tilt his head back to breathe. The lever moved. Half an inch, then another. Finally, it clicked into position. Robert gasped, swallowed water, coughed it back up. 1 lever left. The right lever should move easily. He grabbed it, pulled down. It moved smoothly, locked into place. Somewhere in the system, actuators engaged. The doors would be opening now. All of them. 3 minutes until they locked again. 3 minutes for 200 people to evacuate. Robert had to get back. Had to make sure they made it out. He released the panel, turned in the darkness. The current was stronger now, pushing against him. The return trip would be harder. He started swimming, right hand on the wall for guidance. The watch showed 8 minutes left on his 30-minute timer, but the doors would lock in 3 minutes. If he wasn't back by then, he'd never know if everyone made it out. Robert's heart hammered against his ribs. Complete darkness. No light, no reference points. Nothing but the sound of rushing water and his own ragged breathing. Panic clawed at the edges of his mind. He forced it down. Think. The override station was 100 feet ahead. He'd walked this tunnel hundreds of times. The layout was burned into his memory. He just had to trust it. Robert moved his left hand to the wall, kept it there. As long as he maintained contact with the left wall, He couldn't get lost. The tunnel didn't branch again before the override station. Straight shot. He started moving forward. Each step was deliberate, careful. His right hand swept the water ahead of him, feeling for obstacles. The cold was getting worse, seeping into his bones. His teeth chattered so hard he bit his tongue. Tasted blood. 10 steps. 20. His foot hit something underwater. He felt around it carefully. Broken concrete, a chunk of ceiling. He stepped over it, kept going. The water was deeper now. Chest height, then neck height. He had to swim more than walk, one hand always on the wall. 30 steps. 40. The watch beeped. 15 minutes gone. He'd used half his time and hadn't even reached the override yet. The math was brutal. If it took 15 minutes to get there, it would take at least 15 to get back. 30 minutes total. But he only had 30 minutes before the people in the train would break the roof hatch and try to evacuate through the tunnel. He had no margin for error. 50 steps. 60. His hand hit something metal on the wall. He stopped, felt around it. A pipe junction, 6 inches across. Not the junction box he was looking for. That one would be 2 feet square, mounted at chest height. Keep going. 70 steps. The water surged again, stronger this time. Robert grabbed the wall, held on. The current tried to rip him away, push him downstream into darkness. His fingers found a pipe, gripped it until his knuckles cracked. The surge passed. He kept moving. 80 steps. 90. His lungs were burning. Not from lack of air, but from the effort. Every breath was labored. His 58-year-old body was shutting down, muscle by muscle. His legs felt like lead. His arms were numb. Marcus had been 26 when he went into these tunnels. Young, strong, in the best shape of his life. And the electricity had still destroyed him. Robert was twice his age, out of shape, running on medication and 3 hours of sleep. What made him think he could do this? 100 steps. His hand found it. Square metal box, 2 feet across, chest height on the left wall, the junction box. 10 feet before the override station. Robert wanted to cry with relief. Instead, he kept moving, counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. His hand swept the wall, found the raised panel. His fingers traced the lettering he couldn't see. Emergency door release station. 7, he'd made it. The watch beeped twice. 10 minutes left. Robert found the panel's lock, a 4-digit combination he'd helped install years ago. His numb fingers fumbled at the dial. 2, 7, 3, 9. The lock clicked. The panel swung open. Inside were 3 mechanical levers in a vertical row. Left lever released hydraulic pressure. Middle lever disengaged safety locks. Right lever activated door actuators. They had to be operated in sequence or the system wouldn't engage. Robert's hands found the first lever. His fingers were so numb he could barely feel the metal. He grabbed it, pulled down. Nothing. The lever wouldn't move. He pulled harder. Still nothing. Panic spiked through him. The mechanism was supposed to operate smoothly, designed for emergency use. Why wasn't it working? Then he understood. 3 years. 3 years since this system had been used. Moisture, corrosion, rust. The levers had seized. Robert braced his feet against the tunnel wall, wrapped both hands around the lever, and pulled with everything he had. His shoulders screamed. His back spasmed. The water was at his chin now, rising fast. He had to tilt his head back to keep his mouth above the surface. The lever moved. Just a fraction of an inch, but it moved. Robert repositioned, pulled again. Another fraction. Again. The metal groaned. His hands were slipping on the corroded surface. One more pull. The lever suddenly gave way, dropped into position with a metallic clunk. Somewhere in the system, hydraulic pressure released. Robert could hear it, a hiss of air through pipes. 1 lever down, 2 to go. The watch beeped 3 times. 8 minutes left. Robert found the middle lever. This one had to disengage the safety locks. Without it, the doors would remain sealed even if the actuators engaged. He grabbed it, pulled. The lever moved about halfway, then stuck hard. Something was jammed in the mechanism. Robert pulled harder. Nothing. He tried pushing it up. then pulling down. The lever moved slightly but wouldn't lock into position. Without full engagement, the safety locks wouldn't disengage. The water reached his mouth. He had to tread water now, one hand on the wall, the other working the lever. His legs were cramping. How much longer could he keep this up? He thought about the train, about Lisa and her unborn baby, about Mrs. Chen and her grandchildren, about Carlos who'd given him his watch, about David trying to keep everyone calm, about 200 people who would drown if this lever didn't move. Robert unbuckled his belt with numb fingers, wrapped it around the lever, creating a loop, put his foot in the loop, and pushed down with his leg while pulling up on the belt with both hands. The belt cut into his palms. His legs shook with effort. The lever groaned, resisting. Then it gave, moved past the jam point, locked into position with a satisfying click. 2 down, 1 to go. Robert was gasping now, swallowing water between breaths. The tunnel was nearly full, maybe 2 feet of airspace left, then 1 foot, then just inches. His hands found the third lever, the actuator control. This one had to work. Had to. He grabbed it, pulled down. The lever moved smoothly, too smoothly. Robert felt it drop into position, heard the click. But something was wrong. The resistance wasn't right. The lever had moved, but had it engaged. He pulled it up, tried again. Same thing. Smooth movement, click into place, but no sense that anything had actually engaged. In the darkness, with frozen hands, he couldn't tell if the actuator had activated or if the mechanism had simply failed. The doors might be opening right now, or they might still be locked with 200 people waiting for a rescue that wouldn't come. Robert had no way to know, and he had no time to figure it out. The water was over his head now. He took a last breath, ducked under, and started swimming back. Robert swam through complete blackness, right hand trailing along the wall. His lungs were already burning. He'd have to surface soon. But where? The tunnel was completely flooded now. No air pockets, just water and darkness, and the very real possibility he'd drown before reaching the access shaft. He counted strokes. 10, 20, 30. His chest was on fire. His vision was spotting, which was pointless because he couldn't see anyway. 40 strokes. 50. His lungs screamed for air. He had maybe 20 seconds before his body forced him to inhale water. He kept swimming. 60 strokes. 70. His hand hit something. The collapsed beam. He'd reached the obstacle on the return trip. Robert dove under it, pulled himself through. His shirt caught on rebar. He yanked, felt it tear, kept moving. 80 strokes. His body was shutting down. This was it. He was going to die here in the dark and never know if the doors had opened. Then his hand hit empty space. The wall ended. The junction where the service tunnel met the access shaft. Robert kicked upward, praying there was air above. His head broke the surface and he gasped, sucking in oxygen. There was an air pocket, maybe 6 inches between water and ceiling, but it was enough. He grabbed the ladder rungs, pulled himself up. The water was rising in the shaft too. When he'd entered, it had been shoulder deep. Now it was 8 feet deep and climbing. Robert climbed. His arms were dead weight. Each rung was agony. His hands kept slipping. Halfway up, he nearly fell, caught himself at the last second. The watch beeped. 5 minutes left. He kept climbing. Rung after rung. His body was operating on pure survival instinct now. Brain shut off. Just climb. Just move. Just live. Light appeared above. Dim phone lights filtering down through the access hatch. Voices. People were shouting, but Robert couldn't make out words over the roaring in his ears. His head cleared the hatch. Hands grabbed him, pulled him up. He collapsed on the train car floor, coughing up water, shaking uncontrollably. Did it work? Someone was shouting in his face. Robert, did it work? Are the doors opening? Robert couldn't speak. He pointed at the doors, tried to focus his vision. The doors weren't moving. Everyone was staring at them, waiting. The seconds stretched out. 10 seconds. 20. 30. Nothing. It didn't work, David said, voice hollow. The doors aren't opening. Robert closed his eyes. He'd failed. All of it for nothing. Marcus had been destroyed for nothing. And now 200 people would die because he couldn't operate 3 simple levers in the dark. Wait, Carlos said. Listen. A mechanical whine, faint but growing louder. The sound of hydraulic systems engaging. The doors shuddered. Then they started to slide open. Slowly, painfully slowly, but they were opening. Water rushed in immediately. Not the fire hose blast Robert had warned about. They were too deep for that, but a steady, powerful surge that knocked people off their feet. Move! David was shouting. Everyone move! Now! Get to the platform! People were scrambling, grabbing children, helping the injured. The nurse had Lisa by the arm, supporting her through the rising water. Carlos was carrying Mrs. Chen on his back. Robert tried to stand. His legs gave out. David grabbed him, hauled him up. Come on, David said. You don't get to die after all that. They stumbled through the open door, into the tunnel. Ahead, Robert could see it. The emergency platform, elevated, dry, safe. The watch beeped. Time was up. The doors started to close. Go, go, go! David was shouting, pushing people toward the platform. The doors were sliding shut, hydraulics whining. Someone was still in the last car. A mother and two small children, struggling through waist-deep water. Carlos dropped Mrs. Chen on the platform and ran back. He grabbed one child. The mother grabbed the other. They ran for the door. The gap was closing. 3 feet. 2 feet. Carlos threw himself through. The child clutched to his chest. The mother dove after him. The doors slammed shut behind her with a metallic boom. Is everyone out? David was doing a head count. Sound off by car. Car 1, all clear. Car 2, all clear. Car 3, missing 1. Wait, he's here. All clear. Car 4, all clear. Car 5, all clear. Car 6, all clear. 200 people crammed onto a platform designed for maybe 50. But everyone was accounted for. Everyone was alive. Robert sat against the concrete wall, still shaking. The nurse appeared beside him, shining a phone light in his eyes. Checking for shock. Look at me. Good. Can you feel your fingers and toes? Barely. That's hypothermia. We need to get you warm. She called over several people. Give me your jackets. Anything dry. People peeled off outer layers, wrapped them around Robert. Someone gave him a bottle of water. He tried to drink, but his hands shook too much. David held the bottle for him. You did it, David said quietly. You actually did it. Robert didn't feel like he'd done anything. He felt like he'd nearly killed everyone. The third lever. I'm not sure it engaged properly. The doors might not lock correctly when they close again. Doesn't matter now, we're out. But it did matter. Robert knew these systems. If the actuator hadn't engaged fully, the doors would jam. The next train through this section would hit them. He tried to stand. The nurse pushed him back down. You're not going anywhere. You need to rest. Lisa was sitting nearby, the businessman's jacket draped over her shoulders. She was breathing through contractions, counting under her breath. The nurse moved to her side, checked her pulse. How far apart? The nurse asked. 5 minutes, maybe less. We need to get you to a hospital, now. The nurse looked around. Does anyone have cell signal? Everyone checked their phones. Nothing. They were still too deep underground. Carlos stood at the edge of the platform, shining his light down the tunnel. How long until rescue comes? Robert forced his mind to work. They know a train is missing by now. Emergency protocols say they'll send a crew within 30 minutes. We've been down here maybe 45 minutes total, so they're probably already in the tunnel system. Another 20 minutes, maybe 30. Lisa might not have 30 minutes, the nurse said. Mrs. Chen spoke up from where she sat, cradling her fractured wrist. Then we deliver the baby here if we have to. We've survived this long. We'll survive a little longer. 20 minutes passed, then 30. Robert's body was slowly coming back. The shaking had stopped. Sensation returned to his fingers and toes. The nurse kept checking on him, monitoring for serious hypothermia. Lisa's contractions were 3 minutes apart now. She was trying to stay calm, but Robert could see the fear in her eyes. The nurse had her lying down, using wadded-up jackets as cushions. I'm Sarah, the nurse said to Lisa. OB rotation was my favorite in nursing school. You're in good hands. How many babies have you delivered? Lisa asked. Including residency. 4. How many outside a hospital? Sarah hesitated. This will be my first. Lisa laughed. It came out half sob. At least we're doing something new together. The children had settled into an eerie quiet. Parents held them close, whispering reassurances. Some people were crying silently. Others sat in shock. Carlos was still at the platform's edge, watching the tunnel. I see lights, he said suddenly. Flashlights, multiple of them. Everyone scrambled to their feet. Robert pushed himself up. In the distance, beams of light were cutting through the darkness. Voices echoed. Hello, David shouted. We're here! Emergency platform! The lights shifted, moved faster. Then shapes emerged from the darkness. A dozen firefighters in full gear, followed by paramedics carrying equipment. The lead firefighter reached the platform first. Everyone okay? Anyone seriously injured? Pregnant woman in labor, Sarah called out. Multiple minor injuries, one potential hypothermia case. Paramedics swarmed Lisa immediately. Other paramedics moved through the crowd, triaging injuries. One came to Robert, wrapped him in a thermal blanket, took his temperature. 94.2, the paramedic said. You're hypothermic but not critical. We need to get you to the hospital. I'm fine. Sir, you're not fine. The paramedic started an IV line. Warm fluids, doctor's orders. The firefighters were setting up a pulley system to evacuate people. One at a time, secured in a harness, lifted to a maintenance access point above. From there, a ladder led to street level. Mrs. Chen went first with her fractured wrist, then the other injured, then children with their parents. The evacuation was organized, efficient. Robert watched it all from his thermal blanket, IV in his arm. He'd done this. Not alone, everyone had played a part, but he'd given them the chance. Lisa screamed. Robert's head snapped around. She was lying on the platform, Sarah kneeling between her legs. The paramedics had set up lights, were handing Sarah equipment. She's crowning, Sarah said. This baby's coming now. The firefighters created a privacy screen with their jackets. Everyone else turned away. 5 minutes later, a baby cried. The sound echoed through the tunnel, sharp and alive and perfect. People cheered. Some cried. Mrs. Chen was openly weeping. Sarah held up the baby, wrapped in someone's shirt. It's a girl. Healthy lungs, good color. Mom's doing great. Lisa was crying and laughing, reaching for her daughter. Sarah placed the baby in her arms. What are you going to name her? Someone asked. Lisa looked at Robert. Hope, she said. Her name is Hope. 3 weeks later, Robert sat in a hospital room. He'd been discharged 2 days after the accident. Nothing serious, but the hospital had asked him to come back, said someone wanted to see him. He pushed open the door to room 412. Lisa was sitting up in bed, baby Hope asleep in her arms. She smiled when she saw him. You came, she said. You asked me to. Sit, please. She gestured to the chair. Robert sat. The doctors said Hope is perfectly healthy. No complications from being born in a subway tunnel. That's good. The nurses keep calling her the miracle baby. Lisa adjusted the blanket around Hope's tiny face. But she wasn't born in the dark. Not really. You brought light when you opened those doors. Robert didn't know what to say. The transit authority came by yesterday, Lisa continued. They're doing an investigation. I told them about you, about what you did. I just operated some levers. You swam 200 feet through freezing water in complete darkness to save 200 strangers. She paused. They also told me about Marcus, your partner. What happened 3 years ago? Robert stiffened. They shouldn't have told you that. They didn't. I looked it up, found the accident report online. Lisa met his eyes. He doesn't blame you, you know? How would you know? Because I called him. We talked for an hour. Robert's throat tightened. What did he say? He said he's been trying to reach you for 3 years. You won't answer his calls. He said he needs to tell you something, and you won't let him. There's nothing to say. Yes, there is. Lisa shifted Hope to her other arm. He said it wasn't your fault. He said he made the decision to go down that tunnel. You tried to stop him? He went anyway because that's what the job required, and he'd make the same choice again. Robert shook his head. He's in a wheelchair because of me. He's alive because of you. You pulled him out. The paramedics said without immediate intervention, he would have died. You saved his life, Robert. I ruined his life. No, the accident ruined his life. You saved what was left. Lisa touched his hand. He's engaged now. Did you know that? Getting married next year. He's a counselor at a rehabilitation center, helping other people with spinal injuries. But he says it's incomplete because his best friend won't talk to him. Robert felt tears on his face. He wiped them away. I don't know if I can. Then start small. Answer one call. Read one message. Take one step. Lisa smiled. That's what you taught me down there. When everything is impossible, you just take one step, then another. Eventually, you reach the other side. A knock on the door. David entered carrying flowers. Behind him, Carlos with a stuffed bear. Then Sarah, Mrs. Chen, the businessman, the mother with her 2 children. More people crowding in. We heard you were here, David said. All of us wanted to say thank you, Mrs. Chen added. Properly. Carlos thrust the stuffed bear at Robert. Also, we took a collection. Everyone from the train contributed. $15,000 for Marcus, for his rehabilitation center. Robert stared at them, these strangers who weren't strangers anymore. There's one more thing, David said. He pulled out his phone, dialed a number, put it on speaker. A voice answered. Hello? Robert knew that voice. Marcus. If this story meant something to you, drop a comment and share it. It helps the next person find their way here.